Hi, I'm Conor Svensson, founder and CEO of Web3 Labs, and this is your Week in Blockchain on Monday, the 7th of June, 2021. The leaders this week include Miami's Bitcoin 2021 conference taking place and some of the announcements there. The BINANCE Smart Chain community are calling for action against the flash loan attacks. Has Elon broken up with Bitcoin? BNY Mellon opens their digital asset services unit. China announces a $6.2 million digital currency giveaway. Komgo closes another funding round for their trade finance platform. 1/3 of DeFi lender Aave's total value locked is now on Polygon. And Charge Particles NFT platform for token baskets. The Bitcoin 2021 conference took place this week in Miami. And there were a few key announcements that happened during this. One of them was the Miami-Dade County's commissioner implored attendees of Bitcoin 2021 to move to the region, enticing them with their pro-crypto government initiatives, including the potential creation of a campus for the Bitcoin industry. Blockchain.com, a New York headquartered crypto company, said that they would actually move their 300-strong business unit to Miami. It was also pointed out that the NBA franchise, the Miami Heat, is now sponsored by cryptocurrency exchange FTX, which was co-founded by Sam Bankman-Fried and Gary Wang in 2019. Another huge piece of news was El Salvador making a big announcement in the final hours of the conference. The president there, Nayib Bukele, announced that he will send a bill to the country's Congress to recognize Bitcoin as legal tender. A lot of the other information from the announcement was lost because of the loud applause, but the intent here is actually for El Salvador, if successful, this would become the first place in the world where Bitcoin is actually legal tender. How that would actually fit in with other regulators that deal with El Salvador and other jurisdictions does have something of a question mark there, but nonetheless, it's a significant user country trying to achieve this. Following Elon Musk's tweets over the previous few months about Bitcoin, he posted one this week that indicates that he might have actually broken up with the cryptocurrency. He had an image there which showed like a relationship breakup, and with the hashtag Bitcoin with a broken heart next to it. So whether this is the last we hear from him remains to be seen, but he did follow up as well with a cartoon image saying, "I miss you." So who knows what will happen there, but we know in the last few weeks anyway, there's certainly been some big announcements from Tesla in terms of, first of all, embracing Bitcoin, but then raising their concerns about the environmental impact, which we spoke about in more detail last week. The Binance Smart Chain community has called for actions after a series of flash loan attacks. You'll recall that the Binance Smart Chain is based on Ethereum. It was something that Binance launched in the second half of last year. Most weeks we've been discussing attacks that have happened often on that platform during our episodes of this podcast. The thing here though is that the Binance Smart Chain community, they're really calling on the leadership of Binance to try and take some action here, because there seems to be a lot of flash loan attacks happening where people find ways to drain money and funds out of these DeFi projects that are running on it. It's not to say that it's the only platform that's susceptible, but because there's a lot of activity happening on it there, the community have taken to Twitter because they really want some of the Binance leadership to actually step in and try and create some sort of controls or take action there. Some more crypto exchange traded products have begun trading on Euronext Paris and Amsterdam. So these are launched by investment firms Wisdom Tree, VanEck, 21 Shares, and the ETC Group. They're all listing exchange traded products, which, unlike exchange traded funds, are backed by a central party. So if that party goes out of business, then investors in the funds will miss out. However, these are going ahead and they began trading on June the 1st. So the actual products here that have been listed, there's the Wisdom Tree Bitcoin and Ethereum products on Euronext Paris and Amsterdam. The VanEck have got their Vectors Bitcoin exchange traded note and Ethereum traded note. ETC Group have got physical Bitcoin and physical Ethereum. And again, these have all got their own associated management fees associated with them, but at least it gives another way in which investors can actually get access to these. BNY Mellon, the world's largest custodian bank, has opened up a unit for digital asset services. They expressed regret about not getting involved with this earlier on, but what they've done is they've created a cryptocurrency custodian framework in Dublin, Ireland. The intent is that they'll provide a number of different services for users, including storage, transferring, and issuing of digital assets. It's actually regulated by the central bank and will deal with Bitcoin and digital currencies and non-fungible tokens. So this is a huge piece of news given how significant BNY Mellon are within the traditional finance industry. And also there's this wider consideration here, because banks have always been in the business of looking after money on behalf of people. So there is kind of a logical argument that they're well placed to provide similar services for crypto related assets. And so them stepping in here is very significant news. The American and Swedish authorities have started to signal there'll be stricter crypto oversight, and certainly there's been some activity with respect to UK banks restricting transfers to digital currency exchanges. So the financial regulators in Sweden and the US have hinted at impending crackdowns on the crypto markets. Part of this is driven by the absence of a consistent framework for this technology and the risks to consumers with financial crime. And so there are announcements there from a number of different regulators in these different regions. You'll recall previously that we spoke about how in the UK, NatWest and HSBC were not very crypto friendly in terms of the dealings with their account holders there, but also Starling, Monzo and Barclays have reportedly suspended payments to cryptocurrency exchanges to address high levels of suspected financial crime with these payments that they've seen. It's kind of funny to see how, at one side you've got these banks really clamping down in order to protect consumers, but also prevent things like money laundering. But then you've also got them opening up all sorts of services as well to cater for investors who actually want to get exposure to the asset classes. So it's kind of an interesting mix in terms of what's happening on both sides there. Coinbase have announced that their Visa debit card is now linked with Apple Pay and Google Pay. This is something that's been in circulation for quite a long time, where people can actually use their crypto to pay for transactions with Visa, but by integrating it with Apple Pay and Google Pay certainly makes it a lot more convenient for users to actually use it, especially with the significant growth of these services that we've seen during the pandemic as well. The debit card also includes some opt-in crypto rewards, including 1% back in Bitcoin and 4% back in Lumens, which is the native token of the Stellar blockchain. Guggenheim, they've launched a new fund and they may be investing in Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies. They made a filing to the SEC where they actually said that they may get this exposure there with it. So again, it'll be another big name here potentially embracing crypto even more. China's capital city of Beijing have announced they're going to hold a lottery for residents with a total prize pool of 40 million renminbi, which is $6.2 million US. The actual winnings will be distributed using the country's upcoming central bank digital currency. This has been reported by Reuters. Google have clarified the advertising rules for cryptocurrency exchanges and wallets. These groups will have to reapply for certification under the new rules that are coming in later this year. And the point is that a company needs to be registered with FinCEN as a money service business and at least one state as a money transmitter, or be registered solely with a federal or state chartered bank entity. This has obviously been an ongoing problem for crypto businesses because of the amount of fraud and scams that operate in the space. They need to have good legislation in place to ensure that when you get these adverts on widely used platforms such as Google for these, that they are legitimate entities that are advertising to consumers. So it's good to see that there's some more structured regulation being put in there. The British banking giant Standard Chartered is getting into the crypto industry now as well. Their innovation and ventures unit, SC Ventures, is collaborating with an Asian partner to launch a digital asset brokerage and exchange platform for institutional and corporate clients in the UK and Europe. The intent here is to target the European markets, connecting institutional traders to counterparties in order to deliver deep pools of liquidity in Bitcoin, Ethereum, and other cryptos. Anchorage and the crypto-focused BankProv are to provide Ethereum-backed loans. So institutional clients who use Anchorage Digital for custody will be able to use their ETH as collateral for USD loans. That's actual USD loans, not USDC loans. Anchorage is a crypto custodian, and so this again is just another innovation bridging these the conventional fiat world with crypto there. The Solana blockchain, which there's been a lot of talk about recently, they're raising up to 450 million. Again, it's another platform platform that's being positioned as a so-called Ethereum killer, but they've raised a large amount of money to scale up their ambitions, including they want to become one of the go-to homes for decentralized applications. Currently, they're raising between 300 and 450 million, and they had planned to close a smaller round in March, but they've then planned to increase this. This was due to high demand. Solana have also launched a 20 million fund to advance the ecosystem. This was weeks after they drew 60 million in funding for projects in Brazil, Russia, India, and Ukraine. One of the problems that a lot of these protocols face is that they build this great technology, but then they need to develop the ecosystem. So we're seeing more and more of these funds being created in order to incentivize developers to actually build on top of their platforms. The Ethereum 2 network, we've seen now more than 5 million ETH has been sent to the deposit contract. So that's the time of recording, that's 5.2 million ETH, which is worth about $13.6 billion. The crypto exchange volume crossed 2 trillion in May, which was the highest ever volume we've ever seen. No doubt with all of the selling activity that happened too, that certainly resulted in this higher figure. But again, it's a significant milestone to actually reach. I've also seen the Ethereum transaction fees hit their lowest levels since January because of the downturn we've seen in the crypto markets. And so the average price is now down to just over $7, which was the lowest it had been seen since the end of January, where they were just under $7. The Ethereum also saw 46.8 million worth of institutional inflows last week, with investors taking advantage of the low market prices. Cryptology is to invest 100 million in crypto venture funds. The Cryptology Asset Group, an investment firm co-founded by Mike Novogratz and Christian Angermayer, they've committed to invest 100 million in crypto-related venture funds over the next 2 years. Kraken as well have launched a new mobile app with the support of over 50 tokens. Kraken's one of we've spoken about them previously, and that they're due to be going public next year, but they're a widely used exchange, but not quite as widely used as the competitors Coinbase and BINANCE. But nonetheless, this is them trying to capitalize more with the success that Binance and Coinbase have seen with the consumers on the different app stores. They're also talking to the advantages that their technology provides for better execution prices and so on. But often, we know it's usability that tends to be the biggest drive. In enterprise news, the blockchain trade finance firm Komgo has raised 29 million. This was its third round of funding. The Komgo blockchain is a trade finance platform targeting the commodities sector. It was launched in 2018 by a consortium including ING, ABN AMRO, Shell, Societe Generale, and a number of other leading organizations. And so it's big news there. Just of course, we know that trade finance is one of the very strong use cases for blockchain, but given all of the institutional support behind Komgo and they've been silently building for the last few years, again, it's good to see that they're continuing to grow and get more funding there. Polygon and AU21 Capital have announced a $21 million fund to support Polygon developers. And again, this is to just try and help grow the ecosystem. Polygon comes up a lot in terms of these discussions each week, because a lot of companies and protocols are starting to build offerings on top of it. So this will no doubt help further with that. Master Ventures have now launched a $30 million Polkadot fund. And so this again is to help grow the Polkadot ecosystem. In DeFi news, the Ethereum DEX aggregator 0x has launched on Polygon. So that again, it's another entry point for developers, which enables them to actually take advantage of the scaling provided by the Polygon platform. The DeFi protocols also generated more than 370 million in revenue during May. And so again, it's just showing more and more traction happening in this space. Taking the top spot was Uniswap, which reached just under $154 million. Sushi Swap was the next largest at 20.3, followed by Aave at 16.6. And again, these were all on Ethereum, so the things like PancakeSwap and Binance Smart Chain weren't in this report. There's been an announcement that Uniswap's going to be sponsoring the esports squad team Secret with a grant of just over $100,000. There was a post from Team Secret saying that they're going to create educational content around Uniswap and cryptocurrencies and develop esport industry activations for the partnership. Consensus, the blockchain technology company, have pledged support for a Uniswap governance proposal to set aside tokens for a new decentralized finance fund for political lobbying. The proposal was actually made by the Harvard Law School Blockchain and FinTech Initiative for creation of a fund that would finance existing and new political groups engaged in crypto policy making and lobbying to defend DeFi against regulation. So no doubt there will be more regulation that comes in the future, but right now, one of the great things about DeFi is so much innovation is happening because there isn't so much regulation there. There is, of course, the downside with the different attacks that we're seeing, but at the same time, things can innovate at a fantastic rate there. The other significant news in DeFi is on the Aave protocol, which we mentioned in the leaders there, their total value locked has soared past 20 billion, with 1/3 of this actually on its layer 2 platform Polygon. So Polygon, we've mentioned earlier on, their developer fund, and they've come up a lot here, but they're one of the leading Ethereum scaling protocols. And so to have 1/3 of their assets that are locked on the platform on Polygon is not only a significant figure, of course, but it also shows a high degree of faith in the actual Polygon protocol there. So again, it's big news for Polygon, and no doubt very helpful for Aave, as well as it ultimately provides a better user experience for people when they're able to make use of these layer 2 scaling technologies, as the transaction fees are not as high and also the transactions happen faster too. In the NFT news, the crypto exchange Corbit is launching South Korea's first NFT marketplace. On this platform, NFT creators will be able to auction their digital assets on the website, and they'll be carried out on Ethereum. The NBA, MLB, NFL and NHL partner Fanatics have launched a NFT platform. Fanatics is a popular sports merchandise company, and they've actually teamed up with Galaxy Digital's CEO, who you heard about earlier, Mike Novogratz, and this time Gary Vaynerchuk, who's a very famous influencer, to launch a non-fungible token company called Candy Digital. How this affects some of the other companies that have got agreements in place, such as Dapper Labs with NBA Top Shops, remains to be seen, but again, this is significant news again for sports fans in the NFT space. In Australia, the first ever NFT exhibition is coming to Melbourne, the NFT Stars Marketplace. They're organising this exhibition called CEDUS. The idea here is that they're going to introduce the audience to the world of digital art, and it'll run during July for 10 days, introducing a diverse range of artists and include an educational program. Real CryptoPunks has also announced unique NFT collection with Vitalik Buterin images, and so this is combining the picture of Vitalik along with CryptoPunks. They've created a series to determine what it would look like if pixelated characters were real life beings. With the Real CryptoPunks, there's all sorts of different things that they're doing here to create these characters, such as having like apes, alien and zombies with specific punks, and also having different rarity tiers there as well, and they'll be compatible with the usual NFT marketplaces. So again, these tokens are still being issued at the moment, but it'll be interesting to see where they get to. There's a new NFT protocol which is being launched called Charged Particles, which is an NFT protocol that enables people to actually create baskets as NFTs that contain other NFTs or actual regular tokens. The intent there is that people have the freedom to actually really configure NFTs that hold baskets of what they want, that people can then actually get exposure to, and they can time lock these assets into it. So again, it's a very fascinating innovation because it gives people the flexibility to easily pull together the different NFT and non-NFT assets that they own, and they actually create an interest-bearing token for it as well. Etherscan too have launched a NFT toolkit which will enable people to track the NFT activity on Ethereum, given how widely used Etherscan is for viewing details of transactions and so on and so forth. It's really helpful for them to actually provide better support for NFTs. Certainly a lot of the time it's quite hard to make sense of exactly what's happening there, so it's good news to see that moving forward. Then also the crypto exchange FTX has launched an NFT marketplace. The platform is hosted on the main FTX exchange as well as their US website. The tokens that are being listed there are based on both Solana and Ethereum. And then Animoca Brands subsidiary is planning to launch a collection of Olympics-themed NFTs. The International Olympic Committee is partnering with Enway, a subsidiary of Animoca Brands, to launch these tokens. They're tokenized physical badges that celebrate posters, mascots, and more from the Olympic Games' 125-year history. Moving on to our metrics, the crypto market cap, it's up just over 6% to 1.65 trillion. The assets locked in DeFi are up 10% to 66 billion. The 7-day NFT sales are down almost 33% to 12 million over the period, with an average sale price down by a similar amount to $535. That's all we have for this week. If you like what you hear, please subscribe to our podcast, leave reviews, and like the videos on our YouTube channel and comment there as well. It would be great to hear what you think. Links to all items discussed are available in the show notes and on our website, weekinblockchain.com. We're also hosting a weekly Clubhouse room every Monday at 12 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. GMT if you'd like to discuss any of the items we've covered here. Thanks, and I'll see you next week.